Artificial intelligence is shaping our world. It is changing the way we live. AI can do a lot of good, but it can also make mistakes, especially if it learns from flawed data. This can lead to unfair decisions in a lot of things, from hiring people to running nuclear reactors. AI is also very complex. It can be very hard to understand how it makes its choices, which is why we need clear rules to make sure AI's decisions are responsible. In this video, I am going to list down 5 key pillars of responsible AI which we need to focus on right now. Responsible AI means that we need to think beyond technological progress. We need to think about ethical and other aspects of artificial intelligence because it is going to have a huge impact on the way we live. We need to focus on core principles such as fairness, accountability, privacy, transparency, and responsibility. We need to ensure that artificial intelligence benefit everyone and we should try to curtail it, especially the damages which are inevitable in the near and far future. So let's get started. First and foremost, we need to make sure that ethical AI is observed. Ethics serves as the base of every software development, and AI shouldn't be any exception. So we must make sure that all the software engineers, machine learning experts, data scientists, stakeholders, and everyone involved in this AI development and all these large language models and the applications around them must follow ethical guidelines that prevent AI from being used for harmful purposes. That is why I did a video on NSFW or not safe for work models yesterday, and I stressed on this point that how important it is to make sure that these NSFW or uncensored models don't get deployed in the production environment, because if they fall into the wrong hands, they could really do a lot of harms. Ethical considerations must permeate every stage of AI software development and application deployment, and it should be the cornerstone of everything we do with AI. Secondly, we need to focus on this transparency side of things, because until and unless we don't understand how the large language model works, how it has been trained, what sort of data set is being used, and if that data set has been acquired ethically, then we cannot be sure that this large language model is going to be responsible one. These days, not only there are base models which have been trained on a large corpus of data, but there are merges, mixtures, and variants of these models. For example, Mixtral model is a merge or mixture of 8 small models, and all of those 8 models are expert in their own domain. So things are really getting out of hand. They are getting more and more complex. We have base models, then we have variants of those models, we have fine-tuned versions of those models in specific domains, and no one knows really what exactly is going into those large language models. Especially this is the case with closed source model. Well, who exactly knows what sort of data GPT-4 has been trained on? No one knows, because we don't have its weights, we don't have its code, we just have an API, and we can simply talk with a chatbot and just keep praising about it, but no one knows what exactly is running behind the scene. So that is where it is the need of our to have regular audits and assessments to ensure that AI systems remain ethical and accountable, and it should be as crystal clear as possible. Then comes bias and hallucinations. Now that is a huge issue. If you have played around with large language models, you must have come across where model is giving you infactual information with all the confidence in the world. The quality of these large language models really is based on the data they have been trained on. So data is the king here. Now, if the data is biased, data is corrupted, data is negative, or data is false, it could be any propaganda thing, then the model will simply spew out the negative information. And that could have very dire implications in today's democratic world where a lot of things depend on public mood and social media. This is where these large language models based on the propaganda data can really wreak havoc, and that is where we really need to make sure that diverse and representative data sets should reduce bias and ensure that AI systems are impartial for everyone, and AI system shouldn't take into account the caste, creed, color, or any other implication. So bias elimination or mitigation is a huge thing, and still there is a lot of work to be done there. Then we have these issues around privacy. Just recently, New York Times has sued OpenAI and Microsoft, and because New York Times thinks that Microsoft and OpenAI has trained their large language models on their own data. Well, the matter is sub judice and in front of court, so I'm not going to comment on that. But having said that, this is again come to that point of transparency and this privacy. How could I be sure that if I'm talking to ChatGPT and uploading my own document or maybe uploading my family's photo there and asking some questions around those photo from Delhi or from ChatGPT 4 with Vision, how can I be sure that my data doesn't get leaked to anyone else, or maybe ChatGPT won't give my photo as a answer to anyone else, even by mistake? I mean, how could I be sure? There is no way for me to be sure because I cannot go into the finer detail of their terms of content and terms of reference because no one reads them. And even if we do, I think we need a law degree to understand that. So companies, especially around these closed source models which are publicly available, must prioritize the privacy in their development, because right now there is a real lack of trust and confidence in these large language models. They're interesting, they're awesome, but still, when it comes to trust, I don't think so it's there. And then, lastly but not least, it is really very, very critical and crucial that monitoring is done on every stage of the pipeline of large language models lifecycle, from its training to its deployment to the ongoing operations. Because this landscape of artificial intelligence is in constant flux. Things are changing on daily basis or even by hour, I would say. I mean, every second hour there is a new tool, there is a new LLM or its variant, there is a new data set, there is a new twist in the tail. So it's very hard to keep up. So who is going to monitor all this stuff? So that is where everyone should play their part, and we all must vigilantly monitor artificial intelligence systems, their performance, how they are performing, and then we need to make sure that we do this artificial alignment in sync with all these responsible AI pillars. That's it, guys. I hope that there was something useful, and I'm very, very keen to hear your thoughts around responsible AI. And if you're already employing some of the responsible AI principles in your workplace, please share them. And if you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you already have subscribed, please share it among your network. Thank you very much.